All right, y'all. I got my boy with me. I got
Yes.
man down Zoe from the Bird's Eye View podcast. Man is a damn Falcons fan.
Oh yeah.
Here we go.
Oh yeah.
All right, man. Well, Zoe, I guess we can do it.
Yep. Here we
You
go.
ready?
We
Let's
talked
go.
about it already offline, so we ready for this.
Let's do it.
Here we go! Yeah, here we go! Wait, take
Cowboys.
Throws back of the end zone. There's
What's up, everybody? Cowboy C3, man down Zoe here on this episode of Cowboy Spit. We got the Cowboys versus the Falcons in Atlanta, 12 noon tomorrow on Fox. Falcons are a 2.5 point favorite. Probably should be like 14. Cowboy injury news. Deron Bland and Micah Parsons will not play tomorrow. Parsons still suffering from the high ankle sprain. Bland suffering from the foot injury. I think something is up with that foot, man, because he was supposed to play in that San Francisco game and he practiced for a bit of the week and then they shut him down. And he haven't even attempted to come back yet. He's been practicing a little bit, but not much. They had to activate him on the 53-man roster because his 21 days of practice after injury reserve was up. So you have to put him on the active roster. So he's just out for the week. Here's the troubling news. Trayvon Diggs did not practice all week. He worked out yesterday. Well, he worked out today. It's kind of promising that they listed him as questionable because Friday Mike McCarthy did an interview on the radio station, and he said that they were going to work him out today and just see whether he could go or not, and they listed him as questionable. So maybe he can go. Eric Kendricks, middle linebacker, is questionable. Zach Martin is questionable. Linval Joseph is questionable, which is a real issue because the defensive tackles are really bad, but if they don't have any more defensive tackles, then that makes them even worse. Jordan Phillips is out. Nick Vigil, the backup middle linebacker, is questionable as well. So you got both middle linebackers questionable. And Brandon Aubrey has some sort of like small illness or something. So he didn't practice. But I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. Not that he's the best player we probably got on the Cowboys right now. But, if he's sick, if he got the sniffles, why send him out there?
Yeah, don't want to set him up like that.
You guys injury news. It looks like JD Bertrand is the only player that you guys gonna have out in Rook Okoro, defensive lineman. That's the only players that y'all have out.
Yeah, we actually got a couple of guys coming back, which is good for us. A couple of like you said, Troy Anderson may play. Chris Lindstrom, our Pro Bowl guard, will probably be playing. So it's working out for us, and it's doing the opposite for y'all.
It can't. Listen, it can't get any worse. But this was kind of something that, on the Man Down podcast, this is something that we kind of foresaw with the Cowboys. Just looking at the roster at the beginning of the season,
we talked about it. We talked about it. You were the first, to be completely honest, and that's why, as a Cowboys fan, I can respect your opinion because even if they look like trash, then you're gonna say, we look like trash. And in the beginning, you had questions. You had a lot of questions.
I had a lot of questions about defensive tackle because I said, name somebody on the defensive line, not name Osio Digizul. And y'all were like, And then somebody said Mozzie Smith. And I was like, he don't count. Because he don't. It's terrible to say, man, but he's a first-round draft pick, man, and he just has not lived up to not even the expectations, but he hasn't lived up to any expectation whatsoever. No. Like he just hasn't. What's up, Mel? He just and it's just he's played in some games this year where it looked promising, but it's kind of like fool's gold, like he's there and you're like, okay, especially like against the Giants. I'm like, Mozzie has figured this out, man. He literally, and I saw some things that he was doing different in his lineup, like just the way he lines up on the ball. It looked a little different. And I'm like, okay, man, maybe he figured something out. But then when they went into, I think it was Detroit week.
Whew. That was a rough one for y'all.
It just didn't work. So if Linval Joseph is questionable and can't play, Carlos Watkins, Osi Odigizua, and Mozzie Smith are your only three defensive tackles that you have this game. That's it. Because Jordan Phillips is still on the IR.
Still on IR?
Yeah, and he's on the IR, I think, just because he was so bad in the New Orleans game. He was terrible.
Yeah, you got to be hurt. Sit down for a couple games.
Got to.
You got to. So, yeah, looking at it, I see the same things that you see, because of course we do this weekly now. When it comes to our teams, looking at what we do, looking at how we look before, and looking at how we're going to match up against this team. And one thing I can say is that the way it's looking for us is looking favorable for us, mainly because we're starting to run the ball more. And we know we've talked offline about y'all being able to stop the run, and now no Linval Joseph in the middle of the defense. It shapes up well. Bijan, I think this is his first time having back-to-back 100-yard games. So he's, going up against not, in Texas, but against a Dallas Cowboy, him being, alumni of UT, he feels it. He feels it. He feels it, and I know he wants to play well against the Cowboys. So I'm interested to see. Oh, no, see, you broke news on me. No Parsons is that's favorable for us. Again, it's working out. It's shaping up to where it looks so great on paper, but I'm a Falcons fan, man. And there's always a level of questioning when it comes to being a Falcons fan, because it can look like, okay, this is a lob for us. We should be able to execute. We got most of our roster. They don't. They don't have their key players. Like, we should win this football game. But the thing that we have seemed to do a lot of times, like, no quarterback gets touched from us. Like, we just I'm serious. Like, Dak will be okay. Dak will be okay. Like, we are, I think, just finished week 8, so we are last in sacks. I think we got 6 on the season, and I think we're like 4th to last when it comes to pass rush win rate. So, and I'm looking at, I'm like, yo, we went and got the back half of the defense is good. Jesse Bates and Justin Simmons back there, I'm not worried. AJ Terrell, he's had some hiccups this year, but our corners I'm not too worried about. And I wasn't worried about the pass rush because it seemed like we had to do. We went and got Matt Judon, but Matt Judon held out the entire camp. He started playing football again once he got to Atlanta. And I've been watching
he's like on week 3 right now. He's just getting out of training camp. Yeah.
He's still in training camp. He's still warming up. And I know that because just like, we discussed before, he's losing one-on-ones. Like, he's supposed to be the pass rush specialist on third down, this 3rd and long. You getting a one-on-one, that means you're supposed to win more times than you lose, and you're supposed to at least get pressure, move the quarterback off his spot. It just hadn't been happening. For it, we knew that it was going to be bad, so that's why we went and got him. But even with him, it's still bad, So that's one thing that you guys definitely have that Mike can take advantage of, because we can't rush the passer. I don't even know what it is at this point. Like, I just don't think we have the right personnel.
Right. So the thing about the Cowboys, and since you talked about the defense, I'll talk about the offense. We defensive lines this season have dominated our offensive line. Tyler Guyton at left tackle is a rookie. He's played like a rookie. But he's had some moments where he's shined, and he's had some moments where he hasn't been that great. And that's expected. Tyler Smith is Tyler Smith. He's fantastic. He's had some tough games, but he's been pretty good all season. Cooper Beebe is a rookie. He's playing center. He gets the play started. You can see now where he's starting to have more to do with with calling line assignments, assignments on the offensive line, things of that nature. Zach Martin is having the worst season of his career by far. And it's bad. And maybe he's hurt. You know what I mean? Maybe he is. Maybe he's just Father Time is undefeated.
Yeah.
He is undefeated. And maybe it's just getting to be about that time where it may be time to take the cleats and just put them in the locker one last time and just call it quits.
He's had a great career.
He has had an excellent career. He will be a Hall of Famer for sure. But
100%.
this is just it doesn't look the same. This is not the Zach Martin that we used to seeing. And Terrence Steele is he's bad.
On YouTube. We on YouTube. We not on the post games.
I know.
Be careful what you say, Corey.
He hasn't played well, man. And it's teams have lined up their strongest defensive end or their strongest pass rusher on the right side of the offense. And it's on Terrence Steele. And it's been it's been a pretty simple win. Like, you're supposed to win one-on-ones, right? More than you lose them. And I promise you that he's losing more than he's winning.
That's tough, man.
We have CD Lamb. We have CD Lamb that's pretty much in the same situation as Judon. He's like on week 3. No preseason. Right? No training camp.
Yeah.
Yep. No nothing. So he's just now starting to warm up. And he had an excellent game against the 49ers. He was good against the 49ers.
He really was.
Right. Jalen Tolbert is your second wide receiver. It's year 3 for him. He's a 3rd round draft pick, and he has kind of under-delivered as well.
Okay.
Other than that, man, Jake Ferguson, I am a Jake Ferguson fan. I think Jake Ferguson plays really well, but I don't like the way they scheme Jake Ferguson. Mm-hmm. It always seems like Jake Ferguson and CD Lamb. Watch when they play tomorrow. Jake Ferguson and CD Lamb are like in the same area all the time.
Clutter.
And it shouldn't be that way
at all. Not there's nothing there's no organized routes on your route to where y'all end up in the same spot.
They shouldn't be.
Yeah,
they shouldn't even be on the same side of the field. All you're doing is bunching up the defense and putting them in the same area, because that's where all the coverage is going, is to them too.
Exactly.
So why would you not spread them apart or send one short and send one long? Like, both of y'all can't run double slants. You're bringing the defense to the same place. You understand what I'm saying? It's just it's not schemed up well.
That's what I was about to say. Like us being football guys, like watching the game, like y'all at a level that we never reached. Never. Why can we see this when and y'all can't? Like, I'm looking right. Why you got receivers? Why you bringing? You don't know how easy it is for a defender. If I'm guarding you and you take me over and I can guard this area and I can guard 2 of your receivers, it's easy. It's easy for me. It's simple.
Listen, if I am, and I played a lot of quarterback throughout my whole life.
Yep.
And I very rarely try to put 2 of my best receivers on the same time. Now, if we got 3 good receivers and I got a slot receiver, right, and I got a 3rd receiver, I'm going to put 2 on them, but I'm going to make you make a choice. You're going to have to choose one of them. Mm-hmm. And you better take the deep one, because if you keep giving me the deep, I'm going to keep taking the deep.
Exactly.
But very rarely, unless we're in the red zone, am I going to run both of them on short routes, because I'm not trying to take both of them, put them in the same area. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I may run 2 crossing routes. I may run a corner and a post and make that safety and put that safety in a precarious situation. Like, you got to choose one of them.
Looking at both of them, which one
you got to choose one of them. You have to choose one of them. But the Cowboys, they just don't. Their route combos are terrible, and that's on the play caller.
That's what I was about to say. Who do you? I mean, of course, scheme. They're doing what is called from the sidelines. That's what the play that they're executing. They're doing what is called from the sidelines. And if that is that much of an issue, then yeah, we got to look at some other stuff. I can see the frustration starting to mount for everybody on the Cowboys side of things too, and that is when you start losing games, even games that you shouldn't be losing. Y'all could go out against the Panthers tomorrow and maybe lose, and it's not because the Panthers are good; it's just because y'all looking discombobulated, man.
And this is the thing about the people. I don't think that people understand this about Dallas. Teams want to embarrass Dallas
all the time.
They don't come off coverage against Dallas. They don't. That offense doesn't work until they go into a hurry-up offense. And Dak is calling his own plays. He's calling his own routes. He's calling everything. And then all of a sudden, the offense will start moving. And everybody's like, oh, Dak is getting all these yards, but it's garbage time. There's only been one game this season where it's been garbage time.
Mm-hmm.
And that was actually, there's been two. New Orleans was garbage time, but he was bad against New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit was that was garbage time from the kickoff. Like, yeah, and it went bad.
Everybody's stats was garbage time during that time.
Yeah, it was bad. So, like, Dak has been mediocre this season.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to understand the predicament that Dak is in. Dan Orlovsky said it like a week ago, and he said it, and I kind of took note of it, and I kind of just dwelled on what he was saying. Man, he was absolutely right. There's not a quarterback in the NFL that's set up to fail this year like Dak Prescott. There's not. You have no running game. You got a bad offensive line. You got one wide receiver, and you got a pretty good tight end.
I got a question, bro. Like, because of course you're there, and you be in the mix, and we talk about it all the time offline. But like, you was talking about it this offseason. You just couldn't believe, even from the not signing of Derrick Henry, you was just like, I don't know what direction we going. I don't know. Like, what I wish I knew what Jerry saw prior to this season that gave him the idea that the team would not only get better, but be like a contender. Because every year Dallas is expected. That's just the label that y'all gonna have. Y'all gonna have the label of, if Dallas ain't a contender, then they suck. Point blank period. Right. Y'all not gonna get the idea. Y'all not gonna get the grace period. Like, okay, they rebuilding, they retooling. This ain't their year. No, every win is great, and every loss is 10 times worse.
Oh, it's magnified.
It's going to be magnified. So, what do you think Jerry saw that made him think that this wouldn't be the outcome come week 8 and 9?
This is just my opinion. I have no proof of it. I don't have anything. This is just my honest opinion. Jerry knew that he was going to attempt to hold out on these 2 contracts, so he knew he wouldn't have any money. But if you think about it, it's really bad business, because as soon as you open up those contracts, you open up 20. And I looked at it the other day. I've been saying 28, but it's $26.2 million is what you opened up in salary cap space by signing Zeke. It's not Zeke. Oh God.
Yeah.
By signing, that dude too. By signing CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. That's what you opened up. But you went the whole offseason kind of like, okay, like, and it's kind of that whole Daddy Warbucks thing. Like, I'm going to show you who's boss. I'm going to hold out, knowing full well that you were going to sign both of them.
He had no choice. He had no choice.
So I knew when they let go of Tony Pollard, they didn't sign Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, they're going to attack this in the draft. 2nd or 3rd round, we'll pick up a running back because we don't have a 4th round pick. Sure, you're going to grab one of these running backs early. And it normally starts a chain of events because they're like, oh, the Cowboys just grabbed a running back. We need to grab one too. So then the running backs start to go out. But nobody even drafted a running back, a high value running back, except for maybe, what's his name? The dude in the one from Florida State. Is it Benson? Is that his last name?
Mm-hmm.
Arizona grabbed him kind of early, and Carolina grabbed Jonathan Brooks kind of early.
They got Brooks early.
Yeah, just because of what Jonathan Brooks brings to the table. And I've noticed that he's been practicing a lot lately, and they're probably gonna turn him loose here soon.
Yeah, he's starting to get a lot of those carries that what's his name? Miles Sanders was getting before. So yeah, we ought to see him soon. But yeah, man, I mean,
he's talented.
He's a talented back, and he was there for y'all.
But the thing is, though, man, is you got big boy Braylon Allen in New York for the Jets. The dude's not even really playing that much because Breece Hall is so good, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that dude was available in the 3rd round, and you chose Maris Lufau, a outside linebacker that you rotating in with a guy that you drafted last year that got hurt. So where was the bang for the buck for that? You didn't have a 4th round pick because you used that 4th round pick on Trey Lance. So San Francisco got your 4th round pick, and they picked up Garendo, the running back from Louisville,
running back who's been wreaking havoc the last 2 weeks.
Wreaking havoc the last 2 weeks in San Francisco. So the one that popped you for a 26-yard gain and a 24-yard gain on back-to-back runs when you played San Francisco. That's the guy that you should have drafted. You see what I'm saying? So it's like there's things that they did, but I knew for a fact when I listened the day before, and this was just, I was going somewhere on a Saturday, but I was going somewhere before the draft started for the 2nd round, and they interviewed Jerry, and Jerry said, well, we trying to see what Zeke gonna do. You see what I'm saying? There's just things that happen, and then this whole smoke and mirrors thing about, we had guys last year that really couldn't play because of the players that were in front of them. So we, we got guys, on the roster that are going to really show out and perform. So he is kind of this whole smoke and mirrors thing about, hey, and then this talk the whole time is like, regular season, blah, 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 blah. We got to do better in the playoffs. But when we look at the roster, if you have any kind of football knowledge, it doesn't matter who you are, what kind of football knowledge you have. If you have any football knowledge at all, when you looked at that roster, you had a lot of questions.
Yeah.
A lot.
That's what I saw. Now, you highlighted them. You highlighted them. You were saying I don't feel, yes, we know we got Dak. And even finally when they got the deals done with Dak and CD, you were like, I still have questions. I still have questions. I still got a lot of questions. I don't think that this is a team ready to contend for anything.
Nothing. I picked them to finish either 2nd or 3rd in the division.
Yep, you did.
I did.
You did.
I said the ceiling was 2nd, the floor was 3rd, because I just don't think they're as bad as the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
But in low key, I said, Washington, if they can just protect Jaden Daniels and give him a little opportunity, they could be pretty good. And I'll be damned.
Here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
Here we are. To where they're a real threat to not only finish with a better record than y'all, but to win the whole damn division. Like, that's crazy. And I just wonder what's Jerry's next move?
2020, Carolina A&M.
A&M came back.
Leave him in the game. Don't take him out.
Leave him in the game. Leave him in the game. Marcel Reed, that's his name.
Don't take him anymore.
If you want to win, that's his team. Make it his team.
You want to win? Put Reed in.
Put Reed in.
But yeah, I don't know what he was thinking. I don't, and part of me wants to believe that he has no faith in Mike McCarthy. So he was going to give Mike McCarthy just the bare minimum and just see, okay, if you could coach this team to a 10-7 record, then you're a pretty good coach and I might keep you.
Got it.
Right? So maybe that was his game. But to be honest with you, Zoe, I don't think I just don't think it's that much. I don't think there's that much depth to it. I just don't. I think that he thought that he could win with what he had. And everybody talks about Dak. You want Dak to be Joe Montana. You want Dak to be Patrick Mahomes. That's not Dak. That's just not him. And it don't matter how much money you pay him. He's still Dak Prescott.
He's just Dak Prescott. Don't get him to be nobody else. You want him to be the best version of himself, and you also want to build a roster that can support, him being a team of a quarterback for a contender. And that's what that's, I think, part of the reason why Kirk Cousins came to Atlanta. He saw Bijan, he saw Drake London, Kyle Pitts. He was like, hey, man, I can slide right into this spot and just kind of.
I don't have to just throw the ball to Justin Jefferson.
Exactly.
I have people that I can throw to.
Multiple,
you know what I'm saying?
Multiple people. And
I'm really scared of Kyle Pitts, though.
Yeah, he's starting to come in, and honestly, he's really starting to play well. After, it's been 4 years when we drafted him that high, highest tight end drafted. And it's been disappointing. Not to his, I mean, he had some injury stuff early, but this year he's healthy. And we had Matt Ryan his first year. The Matt Ryan, the version of Matt Ryan that's not an MVP and former Super Bowl quarterback. We had the Indianapolis Colts version of Matt Ryan. His first year. His second year, I think we had Marcus Mariota, but we drafted Desmond Ridder. His third year, we had Desmond Ridder. And none of those quarterbacks were good at the time. I'm just being honest. Like, our offense suffered a lot because we just didn't have decent quarterback play, not even great quarterback play. And so, Kirk Cousins coming in, he's starting to figure these guys out. Drake London and Darnell Mooney, it was a duo that I didn't know how it was going to look. You know what I mean? But now I'm seeing Darnell Mooney is really, really good. And I think, he's probably the guy that I slept on the most from our additions. Because I didn't know. I knew he was fast. He was a smaller guy for a receiver. And I was like, okay, you got Drake London, the 6'5", 200-pound, big guy. And you got Mooney, the 5'11" fast guy, deep threat. Didn't know he was that good of a route runner and didn't know he was fearless even across the middle. That's one thing. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was in his game. I wasn't familiar with his game core. But yeah, and I think that, with a lot of y'all injuries, I think that's what we're going to try to do. Try to use those guys. It's not that serious. What's up, gang?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing all right?
It's just one of those things, though, where it's like the perfect storm. And once you guys figured out, y'all got a two-headed monster at running back. And the thing that kind of it upsets me about that two-headed monster is I watched what the two-headed monster from Detroit did to Dallas, and this could be eerily similar. Eerily similar. Because the two-headed monster that Detroit has, I think the best, the second best, and it's not a humongous gap, is the two-headed monster in Atlanta. Bijan and Tyler Algier, them boys can run. They can run.
And they complement each other. Kind of like them boys in Detroit.
They complement each other. They do. And because Bijan can run for power. But he can go around you too. And Algier is just a lightning rod. When he gets the ball, man, he is gone.
He goes. He just goes. It's really, his running style is simple but so effective. And I think you need that guy. And I think you pointed it out, and I know you knew that already with Bijan, being a Texas guy. I was unaware. I knew because all the highlights was him shaking, juking, shifty. That dude can run behind his pads. He can run. He will run you over.
If he drop his shoulder, buddy, it's trouble.
It's trouble. Like, and I didn't know I knew he could catch out the backfield. I knew he was shifty. Watching him, him now being on my favorite team, I get to see him all the time. And that dude is special. I understand. He's a weapon, man. He's a different type of guy. And when you got a Tyler Algier to spell him, there is a drop off. I mean, Bijan is a different type of talent, but let's not sleep on Algier. That dude he could be starting he could play for y'all.
He could start in Dallas for sure. And I would love to have him. P-Zilla, we're gonna get to that in just a second. Just a second. Just sit tight. It's coming. The thing about the Atlanta offense that scares me the most is Kyle Pitts. We don't handle tight end play well at all. Donovan Wilson probably won't start tomorrow. It'll probably be Wanye Thomas, and he's better in coverage. And then you also have Marquise Bell that is pretty decent in coverage. He was the linebacker. He was a middle linebacker last year, which was crazy, but he was the middle linebacker last year. there are things that the Cowboy defense does that just will complement Atlanta so well that it's crazy. And it could be a game like Detroit where you can just control the game with your run game, and then your play action passes will be wide open.
Which is a strong suit of Kirk Cousins too. Like he's good when he's healthy. It, like you said, it's shaping up. It looks so good for us on paper. I'm being honest. Like on paper, y'all got so many injuries. The absolute best pass rusher you got. Well, the best edge rusher you have. And Parsons not playing. Diggs don't know. Bland still working up. Lawrence, like it's just like y'all be getting dinged up so bad. And when you coming off of losses that y'all coming off of, it just feels like, okay, this game is ours and it's in Atlanta. But knowing Atlanta, I don't know if you remember. Of course, you remember the game about 2 or 3 years ago when we were winning. I think we might have been in Dallas, and y'all came back.
I was just going to mention that the onside kick game.
Oh my God,
that's the last time we played each other.
That's the last time we played, and we had to lead, and you guys came back. That's the type of stuff that happens when Atlanta looks like they have a game locked up. So I'm still gonna be watching, and very, very cautious. But yeah, I think that the way Cousins is starting to figure out his targets, I just found this out today that Mooney and London are, I think, second in yards for wide receiver duos this season. So
yes.
Kurt is getting the ball to a bunch of different people. He's moving around, and so it looks like we can win. This is a winnable game if we able to generate a pass rush. I think it can start to look like the the Detroit game. But if Dak gets time, which some he really hadn't had, Dak knows how to read a defense.
He does.
He knows how to read a defense. So if we aren't able to move him off his spot, I'm not even saying sacks anymore. My bar is so much lower than that. Just move him off his spot a couple of times just to make it difficult. If we're not able to do that, then him and CD get to rolling, and when CD's on one, he's on one. And AJ Terrell will probably be his primary matchup. He been getting cooked by the big names. He been handling the little guys, but he been getting cooked by the big names, and CD is one of those names. So it'll still be interesting to see. How you thinking the game gonna go? We ain't gonna get in the score yet. How do you see it going? As far as the matchup, our defense versus your offense, and vice versa.
Okay, perfect segue. I'll give you some keys to victory for the Cowboys.
Let's do that.
Okay, number one, your offensive line is going to have to play better than they've played all year. Mm-hmm. They're going to have to play well.
Okay.
And with Zeke being out for disciplinary reasons, it really gives Dalvin Cook an opportunity to run the ball for more than 4, 5, 6 carries. Rico Dowdle will be back. I kind of figure Rico will start, right? But Isaac said Dalvin Cook going to bring the W. So he tortures us every time he plays us. That's what he kills us. Right. So you have to establish some sort of running game, which is key number 2. You have to. And key number 3 is if you establish that run game, that will give Dak some time, and he can manipulate the secondary however he needs to. Mm-hmm. CeeDee Lamb, I think, is going to be open. That's kind of a given, right?
Yeah,
it is.
He gets open.
He's going to get open. But Jake Ferguson is going to have to find his way into this football game. He has to. He's been eerily quiet for about 3 weeks. And I know he got hurt in that Cleveland game, but, you're talking about 9 weeks ago. 9 weeks ago. That was the first game of the season. You're talking about 9 weeks ago. So we should be over that. Yeah, we should be over that. Tolbert should get some opportunities tomorrow as well. And that's the one thing that I noticed just watching Atlanta play. They don't particularly produce a lot of pressure at all. You see a lot of quarterbacks with clean pockets, or, they may have to step up in the pocket. There's nobody in there to cover it. But this offensive line has been bad.
Really?
They've been bad. And the easiest way to keep a high-powered offense quiet, right, is just make them one-dimensional. And the Cowboys, when they become one-dimensional, they are bad. Because Dak, and I've said this before, and me and you have talked about it on numerous occasions. Dak, his Achilles heel for his 9 years in the NFL has been once he gets behind, he starts trying to throw 14-point touchdowns, and you can't do that. He starts pressing, he starts forcing, and that's when the picks come. And that's why the picks have been so high this season, because they've been behind so many times.
Playing from the rear.
Yep. And I promise you, when they start playing from the rear, he is going to throw a pick. He's going to do it because he is going to try to force the ball into CD Lamb. That's what he does. If you look at his picks in these the bad season a couple of years ago and this season this year, most of his interceptions come throwing the ball to CD Lamb. And it's because he's trying to force it. I'm going to throw this ball in between this double coverage. I'm going to do it. Don't care what it looked like. That's what happens. Look at the Green Bay game. The pick six. CD Lamb. Pick six. That's just how it goes. So like,
okay, can I come on a live video?
Yeah, we'll get you on one of these. We'll get you on one.
We'll figure something out for you.
We'll figure it out for sure. We can figure it out. Hey, everybody, you got to be screamed before you come on because people do crazy shit live. Yes,
we've seen some things.
but I know, Danny.
Okay.
It says 14-point touchdown. Yeah, man. That's what I'm telling you. Just watch Dak Prescott play. When you watch him play and they get behind, Dak gets in this mode where he's like, I'm completing this pass and don't give a damn what's about to happen. And he'll start double clutching, and then he'll start throwing. And once that starts happening, he's finna start throwing picks. All you gotta do is watch it. I'm telling you. So tomorrow, what I said is all predicated on the defense. It is because this could all go away with one of those situations, right, where Atlanta just controls the line of scrimmage offensively and just runs the ball. If we allow Atlanta to do that, then everything that I said about the offense goes out the window because now you can't run that much. You can't do it. And one thing Dak is going to have to understand is that Dalvin Cook is not Zeke. He is not going to pick up. He's not going to pick up blitzes like Zeke does. He's not going to do that. But what Dalvin Cook gives you is he'll give you a bump, right? He'll give you an extra hair to dump the ball to him out of the backfield, which the Cowboys do not throw to running backs that much. But dump the ball out of the backfield, and when you get Dalvin Cook past that front of the line of scrimmage and get him into the secondary, he is phenomenal with the ball receiving.
Yeah, and that's what I'm scared of, honestly, because if you're able to, like you said, he's not going to pick up the blitzes like Zeke. He'll give you the shoulder check. He'll help out on the blitzer a little bit, shoulder check. Then he'll get out there ready for that dump off. And Dalvin Cook in space he still can make people miss. And that's what one of the keys for us is try to contain him, because I know, we've been watching film probably all week expecting Zeke to play or expecting Dowdle to be the guy, one of the two. But now you add in Dalvin Cook. Completely different look. We don't even know really what he looks like as a guy who's going to get 15 carries tomorrow at least. If he's cooking, y'all might feed him and fan him and just keep going. But my biggest thing, my worry is we try to get too fancy. Like you said, we got two good running backs, man. We have two good running backs. If they are running and we're able to, control the line of scrimmage, move them back, and they can run the ball, it is going to set up everything else to be successful. And I don't want to. I've seen us kind of stray away from doing it. I've seen us kind of try to get Kirk Cousins in his groove early. We are a front running team right now, honestly. And we don't play well at home. Y'all, on the other hand, y'all 3-1 on the road, which is crazy. Y'all 3-1. We 2-3 at home.
And we had an opportunity last week to be 4-0 on the road.
4-0. 4-0 on the road.
Couldn't capitalize on it.
Couldn't get it done. But all three of y'all wins on the road, and I think that we are a team that hasn't played well at home this season. We got 2 wins at home. The rest of our 5 wins are on the road as well. So it's interesting to see how the game starts. I want to see who takes the first punch in that first quarter. And if it's y'all, we have trouble adapting. Once we take that punch, I want to see if we're gonna get up and throw punches, or we just gonna leave our chin out there so you can hit us again. Because that's how it normally happens for Atlanta sports teams. But everything you said was facts, though. That like if we able to control the line of scrimmage and get that running game started, then it's a different ball game.
So the thing with our defense, and I'll lead with this.
Mm-hmm.
There's a possibility tomorrow that your cornerbacks may be Kalen Carson and Andrew Booth Jr. for the Cowboys. That would be your starting corners.
Yeah.
That's a distinct possibility. And Andrew Booth Jr. has been exceptionally bad this season.
Yes.
Exceptionally bad. Hold on. I'll touch on that in just a little bit. It's not that serious. Just a second. Just give me a second.
Gotcha.
If the Cowboys, what my biggest fear tomorrow is that even if the Cowboys do come out and stop the run, if that's your cornerback lineup, the pass is gonna be open.
It's gonna be open too, especially against some guys I was talking about. Yeah, that is tough. Man, it is shaping up. I don't bet on my team. I'll throw some money here and there, but I'm almost tempted to bet because it's shaping up to be a game that is very winnable. Get us to 6-3. It's shaping up
with what, a 2-game lead, and it'll be a 2-game lead on the division.
2 full games, and we won both games against Tampa Bay. So
they are depleted, and
they depleted just like y'all. Like that's what. If we don't win the division this year, it's our fault. It's our fault. It's our fault.
So, Danny, look, if the season keeps going the way that it's going, he ain't gonna have no choice but to leave.
Have no choice because they're gonna tell him to leave, huh?
Yeah, they're gonna tell him to leave. Now, if he had a choice, you have to understand this, and you can kind of see it on Mike McCarthy's face. Mike McCarthy is kind of to me, it seems like he's kind of frustrated with Jerry's antics this season.
I can see that.
Jerry is going to do anything and everything he can do to stay relative. That's just that, but that's Jerry. Jerry has done this now for since he's owned the Cowboys, right? Even when they were winning, he would come down on the sideline. In the interviews, he would always pop up in the coaches' interviews. Anything that he can do to stay relevant, he's going to do it. Well, now that he is the face of the franchise, right? And this is by design. This is by design, right? His team is bad, so he's going to do whatever is necessary for him to be relative, which is if it means landing your helicopter in the middle of practice on the practice field, so be it. So be it. If it means going on an interview on the radio station and just blowing your gasket,
he lost it on that interview.
Yeah. So whatever it takes to be relative, just to stay relevant, that's what he's going to do. So, if McCarthy can turn this season around, I wouldn't have a problem with him staying. But the problem is that he doesn't have the weapons to turn it around. And Jerry said something about if he could put some more meat on the bone before the trade deadline, then he would do that. Good luck. Because if you're going to trade somebody, got an Amber Alert. Yeah. If you're going to trade somebody for the season, right? If you're going to trade somebody now, who would you trade? Who's going to give you something?
Yeah. What are you going to gain by getting rid of this person? What are you getting back? What are you going to get back? And
what would you get back? Because if you told me you trade me Zach Martin, I'm trading you somebody at the end of the bench. Just because he's been that bad.
Yeah.
You tell me you're going to trade Terrence Steele. I'm not giving you anything for Terrence Steele. you can't give me Brandon Cooks. He got some sort of infection in his knee where he can't even play. He hadn't even been here. This was his first week back at the facility from an infection in the knee. That's staph infection, bro.
Oh, definitely.
That's what it is. When you talk about it's not that serious. When you talk about how I feel with my team in the division, third place. That's how I feel. That's how I feel about it. Third place. They can't beat Washington and they can't beat Philly. I think that they'll play Philly better than they'll play Washington. Dallas has been notoriously bad against mobile quarterbacks. You saw them against Baltimore a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
They've been notoriously bad for years against mobile quarterbacks. Now you're not going to give Jaden Daniels a pass rush? Come on, man. And we play Philly next week. So I'm thinking maybe they're trying to keep Micah Parsons healthy this week. Just like we go one more week ahead, one more week, just rehabbing one more week, and then we'll let you loose against Philly. Right? Will it make that big of a difference? Probably not. You know what I mean? But at least he'll be there.
And it gives me some understanding. Okay, if you holding out for a division Parsons trade for Kittle.
Listen, I'm not upset with our tight end. I think our tight end is pretty good. Yeah. We just have to find ways to get him the football.
Fact.
That's it. And the first thing that you can do is stop lining them up on the same side as
wide receiver one.
Stop lining them up on the same side.
Mm-hmm.
Spread the defense. Just spread the defense. And for the life of me, stop running 5-yard out routes with damn Kevontae Turpin.
The little guy.
Just put him in the slot, man, and send him on the seam, bro. Just let him run seam routes. All it does is it takes a safety completely out of the play. And if you run him on a skinny post from the middle, now both safeties have to look at him.
Both safeties going to respect him.
Right, and then you can drop things outside because you're going to have one-on-one coverage. Because you have to respect Kevontae Turpin. He's going to outrun your safety or your linebacker. He's going to do it. He's going to do it. And if you play him in the slot where he's off the line of scrimmage and you can't put your hands on him and he gets a full head of steam and he gets into the middle of your defense, like it messes everything up. It messes all your coverage up. Or Dak is just going to hit Kevontae Turpin on deep post the whole time. Even in the game against San Francisco, right? Why would you line him up outside and run him on the deep route? Was it a good pass by Dak? Yes, he dropped the ball for sure. But I'm not throwing deep routes to a 5'7" wide receiver on an outside coverage. I'm not doing that. I'm just not doing it. I'm lining him up in the slot. I'm keeping him off the line of scrimmage, and I'm letting him kind of work the middle of your defense where your safeties absolutely have to respect it. Because if you don't, I'm blowing the roof off this thing.
Yep, make a decision. That actually will be perfect. Honestly, keep him in the slot. If he gets that safety, to even guessing, and you got CD on the same side with a one-on-one, he can't help. That safety can't help if Turpin is running a deep post in straight up the seam. Like, he's going to be a problem. You got to go get that guy. You got to guard him.
We just talked about Dak and what his issues are. Yeah, he's throwing the ball in the traffic because he's throwing the ball to one wide receiver. There's no other wide receiver with 20 catches on this team. That's a problem. That is a problem. If you don't, I mean, really right now, your passing game is Dak and CD, and every team is double covering. Hell, San Francisco was bracket covering. Sometimes it was 3 people on him.
3 people on him.
You know what I'm saying?
They know what's coming.
You know what's coming. You don't have a choice right now. You don't. So, defensive-wise, you have to figure out some kind of way to control the line of scrimmage, which is not going to happen. Right? But you have to figure out. Mozzie Smith is going to have to dig deep and figure out something. He has to. I mean, right now, you're literally playing for your career. You are. Because once you get that bust label, right, and you get that, it's just hard to shake it. It is. And at least occupy, right? Stand your ground. Don't get driven back. Just don't allow them to change the line of scrimmage.
Exactly.
If you don't allow
one foot back changes everything.
It changes the whole thing. And if you can get 1 foot forward, right? And because I've noticed that Atlanta, y'all like to pull y'all's guards, and y'all are very, very good at it. Very good at it. If you can get penetration and kind of throw and mistime those pulls, then that changes the whole dynamic of the football game. The thing about the game when in Detroit is that the line of scrimmage was changed positive for Detroit 4 yards. So they were driving the defensive lineman back 4 yards. So these dudes are pulling going forward, and it's just a head full of steam into a linebacker. And Penny Sewell looked like a damn bowling ball in there. Man, it was wild what they were doing. And that's what I'm saying. Like, these teams are coming out trying to embarrass the Cowboys. And I don't think that it'll be any different tomorrow. I really don't, just because of the way that things are lining up, and especially with Atlanta being such a good running team. Like, it has the potential to go off the rails quick. Even if the Cowboys do score first, if Atlanta just sticks to the program and runs the football and they're successful with it, and that opens up the play action, bro, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. And that's painful for me to say, man, because I love the Cowboys.
Of course. I know how you feel about them. I know how you feel about them. And so watching them this year, but at least you prepared yourself. Like, a lot of people, a lot of your fan base, they can be superficial. I mean, you a football guy, and we talk ball all the time. But you said it. This is not going to be enough. The cupboard looks bare. It looks bare. I know you got some names. I know you got some guys, but this is not enough. You see what's going on around us in the NFL, and you are absolutely right. You are absolutely correct.
All I said all offseason was all in, huh? This is how we go all in.
This is what all in looks like.
This is what it is. Okay. All right. So, Zoe, this is my prediction for the game.
All right,
and
let's do it.
I'm not even going to say anything about how the game is going to go, but this you can read between the lines with the score.
Okay.
You ready?
Let's do it.
Atlanta 37, Dallas 10.
Gosh. I wasn't going to. I mean, I had us winning as well, but I did not have that. I had it more of a 35-28 game. I think y'all going to be able to. You don't think y'all going to be able to put up 28?
Okay, 35. Okay, I tell you what, 37-17.
37-17.
I think CD gets 2 touchdowns in like one in the third, one in the fourth. Yeah. So, and this is my reasoning. This is my reasoning, right? It will be like the Detroit game. I just don't think you guys are as good defensively as Detroit was.
We're not. You're right. We're not.
Right? That's where the 17 is going to come from. But I think Atlanta will come out. I mean, the writing is on the wall.
Yeah, we
just run the ball against Dallas and you'll beat them. You will. You'll beat them. This defensive scheme has not worked. And sure, a lot of people have been saying Zimmer don't have the right personnel for it. Sure, he don't.
Of course he does.
I agree. Because they started making moves during training camp, bringing these old defensive tackles in. He didn't like the way the defensive tackles looked in training camp. He didn't like it. So he started bringing other players in. And the thing about them is that he's probably calling them off the couch. They're not very good either.
Exactly. Hey, we need you. But that tells how bad he sees something, a position of need like D tackle. If he's calling these older guys and saying, hey, man, what you doing? Do you mind coming to play for the Cowboys and getting up off your couch? You know what I mean? Like, that means it's a problem. That means we know it's a personnel issue. We know that if you bringing in those type of guys.
And the thing about the Cowboys is that, and I've heard people, in the media here say stuff about how the Cowboy linebackers are playing bad. They don't have an opportunity to play good. How can you play good when your own teammate is just literally in your lap?
Exactly. People don't understand that. Like, the linebackers, it's impossible. Like, let me I tell my son this all the time, and I know we both got sons that play ball. Like, it has to be transactional. If you're a linebacker, you need your line play. You need that. So you can flow to where you need to flow to, whether it be in coverage, whether it be towards, hitting your gaps. If your line of scrimmage play, if your D line, is getting knocked back every single time, you ain't gonna be able to sift through that traffic and get to anywhere you need to get to. It's impossible to do.
Listen, if I have to fight my own player, the player that's blocking him, the player that's supposed to be blocking me, and still get to the ball and make plays, how the hell are you supposed to do that?
You can't. It's impossible. It's not feasible football. You can't play that way. You can't.
Yeah, you can't. You just can't do it. And then your safety play, Donovan Wilson last week, George Kittle beat him like a damn drum. I mean, whooped his ass, right? If you look at George Kittle's stats from last week, number 6 is chasing him the entire game. And it's like a foot race, and it's not like he's just gaining ground on him either. It's like I don't even want to tackle him. I got burnt, and then I don't want to tackle him, right? Well, Kyle Pitts is worse.
Yeah, he's faster.
He's ultra athletic. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He's not the big brute tough guy like George Kittle is, but he is ultra athletic, and he's strong.
Mm-hmm.
He's strong. I saw him against Tampa Bay. He took their safety with one arm and just mushed his ass. Should have been just mushed him right out of play. Just get your ass away from me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it's like this could be really, really bad. This could be one of them games where you see Kirk Cousins in the third quarter, probably like 14 or 15. He ain't even thrown that many passes.
But still getting productive.
But it's effective. It's effective. Darnell Mooney, this is kind of one of them games where he might have like 2 catches, but it might be for like 84 yards and a touchdown. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Kittle. I think Drake London and Pitts will be doing the dirty work, and they'll just be going over corners and and safeties and catching the ball. Big guys. Then Moody will probably come across the middle and just kind of break one for a long gain, or a touchdown. And then the thing that is also scary about this Atlanta offense is how well Bijan catches the ball out of the backfield. We haven't covered that. We haven't covered that well either. We haven't. And you can put Overshown on him. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was thinking.
But Overshown is, listen, he gonna have to fight through traffic to even get to him. He gonna have to.
We talked about. Yep.
Just because of what we're talking about, and to be honest with you, the only way that we've kind of been able to even apply any pressure is blitzing Overshown. So that might take him out of play too. Because if we can get to Kirk and make it and kind of rattle him, that would kind of change everything. You understand what I'm saying?
Would. We know Kirk ain't no mover. He's not a mover.
No, he's not. He's not. But if you let him stand back there like a statue just throw the ball on you consistently, it can get really bad. It can. Really can. But no, I just don't think this is one of those games where as the season progressed, I'm like, shit, man, this is the gauntlet. The gauntlet started last week with San Francisco. But you got San Francisco, you got Atlanta this week, you got Philly next week, and then you got Washington.
That's a tough 4-week stretch when you banged up, not playing well. That's a tough 4-week stretch.
You can't hope for nobody. That shit's gone. It's gone. You had to buy before Frisco. You had 2 weeks to prepare for Frisco, and the best you could do is what you did last week. It doesn't bode well. It doesn't. There's all this talk about, and it's just rumors, right? And because I've been kind of digging into it, it's just rumors about the Cowboys acquiring Nick Chubb in a trade. It seems like Cleveland is kind of on a fire sale, but shit, if Jameis Winston keep playing the way that he's playing, why would I trade Chubb?
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
If Jameis can be productive and have a running back like Nick Chubb, if they win the next game, they might start taking all their trade pieces off the market just to see how it goes. What's their record now? What's their record?
I think they got the same record as we do. 3-4. 3-4. Like that. They may be 2-5, but 3-4. Okay, so this is an interesting comment by Danny. Parsons and Trayvon Diggs think it's babysitting their area and they want out of Dallas. So I will say this. Trayvon's under contract. He ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Unless they trade him. And he can come in and demand a trade or whatever, right? And I mean, you probably get pretty good draft capital for him, and there's been a lot of talk about, people saying we should trade Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs coming off ACL injury, man. This wasn't going to be no 100% season anyway. It just wasn't. It never was.
Next year, after when it comes to those injuries, that's what you have to. You got to at least wait until not the next season, the following season to see if he gets back to form.
Yes, and him being, and we talked about it earlier in the show, him being now off ball. He's normally a man-to-man on ball corner. He plays right in your face. Bump and run corner, that's what he does. And Mike Zimmer's scheme, though, he's playing off the ball. And, just watching Trayvon Diggs throughout his career, he hasn't been that good being off the ball. He hasn't been. He needs to be a bump and run corner. And I think they'll adjust to that eventually. But right now, he may not be able to play off, he may not be able to play bump and run. He just might not be able to do it.
Yeah.
Now, if you got Bland back yesterday, I feel a lot better about the matchup because Bland can just follow Mooney around, and that would be a good matchup. And Diggs and Drake London, that would be an excellent matchup, right? Definitely. That would be because Drake London is not that fast, so Diggs don't have to just be barreling down the field, and just them two matched 1-on-1. That's a pretty good. That's just a pretty good matchup.
I'm gonna watch that. That's gonna be good because just like you said, London's strength is not his speed. We know that he's a big physical receiver. That's what he is. That's why a lot of times we move him around and try to get him matched up to where he can just turn his back and kind of post people up. But Diggs is a ball hawk. He still has the instinct. He may not be 100%, but like you said, he don't got to chase. If he was matched up on Mooney, he would be running all day, and we don't know if he can do that with Drake.
Damn track meet.
Exactly, he's gonna try to turn to a track meet. To test that leg to see how well you can run on it. But yeah, that's definitely the matchup. If you get Bland, have him shadow Mooney, Diggs on London, and then it kind of limits some of Kurt's weapons, and that's what y'all gonna have to do in order to get him one. And to get some pressure.
It ain't gonna happen tomorrow, so not tomorrow. Like your corner, like I'm telling you, man, it's lining up for your corner's gonna be Andrew Booth and Kalen Carson. That's how it's lining up. Because if Diggs game time decision, if he can't go,
then yeah, that's it right there. That's it. I'm gonna go a little like I said, I went 30, 35, 28. I figured that we're going to make some really, really bad mistakes. The reason why I say that is because when we played Tampa Bay the first time, beat them in overtime thriller. I think it was a Thursday night football game. Next week, we have the Seahawks, and we lay an egg. We just forget how to play football every once in a while at home again. And that's the biggest thing. You know how momentum is. Kirk Cousins throw a bad pick to a guy he doesn't, or Turpin takes a kick or a punt back. It shifts the momentum. And I have yet to see the Falcons string together 3 games where they played well enough to win convincingly. So I think the game is going to come down to a single possession. I do think we pull it out, but I think that it's going to be a 1-possession game. Y'all going to look a lot better. You might have some hope because this Falcons team is inconsistent, Corey. You don't think so?
I hope you're right. I do. I hope you're right. So, Zoe, I don't know if you know this, but this season, I am 6-1 picking these games. Wow. 6-1. And the only game that I lost is I thought that the Cowboys would be a lot better last week off the bye. I thought they would be prepared for it. And especially coming off that embarrassing loss to Detroit. And you got to get some get back. And that was last week. To me, last week was the most important game of the season. It really didn't matter what you did before that. You needed some get back against San Francisco. You needed that in your life. You did. And you didn't get it. Well, the crazy part about it is that if you look at the way this is all set up, next year is your year to play the NFC West again. So you're going to get them again.
Next year again.
So you'll have San Francisco 5 years in a row. And it don't matter if you 1-4. You have to beat them. You have to get that monkey off your back.
Exercise those demons. You got to exercise those demons.
You have to.
Let me ask you this about your team, Corey.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you, is this season a wash for you?
Yes.
Is it starting to look like a wash for you?
Yes.
Feel like a wash? Okay.
Yes.
So what are some of the things that you would look for your team to do if you Corey's GM, Dallas Cowboys?
Okay. Cool. I can do that.
Season,
Let's do
it. We don't even care what your record is this season. End of this season.
Gotcha.
What's some of the moves you're gonna make or look to make?
You're gonna make me do my story for next week. You're gonna make me do it right now. Okay.
Just a little bit. We ain't gotta give them the whole thing. We ain't gotta give them the whole thing.
I'm not gonna give them the whole thing, but I'm opening this up to where we have almost $100 million in salary cap space, and I'm hitting free agency hard. If you look at the free agency list for next year, it's deep.
It is.
Deep. And if you look at the draft class next year for running back and wide receiver, it's deep.
It's gonna be crazy.
It's deep, right? So you can add some value to this team. Make your defensive line strong. I don't think your linebackers are terrible, but you make your defensive line stronger. You need some defensive tackles for sure, right? And I'm not just talking about one guy. You need 2, maybe 3.
Some depth. You need some depth.
You do. And you don't have to go get top of the line guys. You just need to go get some mean dudes that like to play football. That's all you got to do. Some young, mean dudes that like to play football. I think your linebacking core would develop tremendously behind that, right? You're going to have to go get you another safety. And you're going to have to get you a right guard because I don't think Zach Martin will be back, and I'll talk about that next week. And you got to get one more receiver. If you do that, right, and you draft a running back, you understand? You draft a running back, and you get that son of a gun from Boise State. I don't give a damn if you draft 5th. You get that dude. You do not let that dude make it. If you have to trade down and pick up some more capital in the 2nd and 3rd round, if you have to trade down to the middle of the draft, because right now it looks like you're going to draft about 10th or 11th. If you have to trade down to 25th and pick up another 2nd or 3rd round pick, and you get that son of a gun, he's from here. He's from Frisco. He's from Frisco. You go get that dude, and you give him a line to run behind. He's going to be an instant 1,000-yard running back. He is going to give you that. Right, and that would open up your man, and you would open that offense up so much. But you have to improve your offensive line play. I believe the 2 rookies will be a lot better next year. This year ain't their year.
Not their time.
It's just not. And I would move Tyler Guyton to right tackle, get rid of Terrence Steele, move Tyler Guyton to right tackle. He was a right tackle, and he'd been a right tackle since high school. You just moved him to left tackle.
You moved him to left.
You moved him to left tackle. I would put him in his comfort spot, right? I would put Tyler Smith at left tackle. We just got to ride with it. And I put TJ Bass at left guard, and we ride with that too. And then your offensive line situation is fixed, right? You'll find a right guard. You could even find a center in the draft and move Cooper Beebe back to guard because that's what he played in college.
That's what he played in college.
You see what I'm saying? There's ways to fix it, but you have to fix it.
That was good, bro. That was good.
Derrick Henry trade for Kittle, trade Lincoln Riley, Ben Johnson, head coach or coordinator. So the only thing that I really agree with in that, so Derrick Henry ain't going nowhere. Baltimore signed him till he retire. George Kittle ain't going nowhere. That's not going to happen. Lincoln Riley, I don't have a problem with Lincoln Riley, but Lincoln Riley has to get some defensive people in here to know what the hell they're doing. Ben Johnson, I love Ben Johnson. I do. I love his creativity. I love everything about him. But I said the same thing about Brian Schottenheimer in Jacksonville, and he came here, and it's the same offense.
It looks no different.
It looks no different. The creativity that got Trevor Lawrence paid is not here. It's not. It's not. So if you got to get rid of this 2011 scheme that the Cowboys has. You have to. And the only way to do that, I feel like, is to get rid of – you can't get rid of the general manager. You have to get rid of the head coach. But Jerry is going to have to take a step back.
Big step back. Allow his team to be ran by the people he hires to run the team. You're the owner. You're like, just chill.
Just be the owner, man. Just sit up in the box and be cool, right? And be cool and just let us play football.
That's it.
D, what you mean, Peterson? So, okay, you talking about the head coach, Doug Peterson. Peterson. He might be right. Because he had a pretty dynamic offense in Philly as well. That when they won the Super Bowl, that offense was pretty dynamic.
Absolutely.
But it don't look the same this year. That offense in Jacksonville don't look that, and Peterson is still there. So Schottenheimer had to have something to do with it. He had to. That offense is dead this year. And you're right. The change in so it's not even the change in ownership, Derek. Let's take a team like Houston. All it takes is for the owner to get the hell out the way. Just get out the way. That's all you got to do. And Houston, that was a dumpster fire. That whole situation with Deshaun Watson, it was a dumpster fire. It was bad. But the ownership said, you know what? Maybe we're not doing this right. We just stepped the hell out the way. Let y'all people do it. First thing they did was hired a head coach who was hungry and ready to go. Right? He came in, brought a whole bunch of people, brought a staff in that fit his system, and it was instant success. Houston was a very good football team last year. This year, they're 6-2. They're really not playing like a 6-2 team, but they're still 6-2, and they're in first place in that division.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? They added pieces. They went and got Joe Mixon where it doesn't put all the pressure on C.J. Stroud. They got wide receivers falling out like fire too. Nico Collins, that shit hurt. But you know what I'm saying? And then Stephon Diggs tore his knee up on a non-contact injury. That's bad. So your best receiver is a little guy, but Tank Dell is different.
Yeah, he's a dog. He's a dog. He's about to have the one of these next weeks without Collins and without Diggs. I think he's going to show his worth. I don't know what it's going to lead to for them. I know they're just coming off a loss, but he had 100 yards then. I think he'll continue to be the little guy, number one receiver. He's going to make some noise.
Yeah. Derek, are you talking about in Jacksonville? Because if you are, they still got their core, right? They still got the quarterback. They still got a decent old line. ETN is still there, even though he's been running like trash. He's still there. And they still got decent wide receivers.
They got a decent offense.
They got a decent offense. Their defense ain't that great, but they got a decent offense. It's not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. I take their offense over Dallas. You know what I'm saying? So if you just, of course, the talk here in Dallas is always, you know what I'm saying? McCarthy, get McCarthy out of here, hire Bill Belichick.
How's that
Dallas Cowboy fans. Cowboy Spit said it first. I probably didn't say it first, but I'm saying it right now. Bill Belichick will never come to Dallas. Never. He won't too much say so. He won't too much say so. Jerry not going to give him that say so.
That makes sense. You can't have two Chiefs because, Belichick, a lot of his winning ways was because he was dictating so much in New England. He was dictating so much in New England, and it led to wins. He's going to feel like, hey, let me do that. And I don't know if Jerry gives him the opportunity to do that because Jerry is the same way.
Right. The exact same way. Okay, so year after year, you have to add. Derek, I agree with you 100%. But here's the thing about the Cowboys. And me and you, Derek, we talk about this shit all the time too. With Dallas, you have players. So CeeDee Lamb is an elite player. He's elite. He's probably the only elite one that you have. Micah Parsons has elite characteristics, but what has he done that's been elite? Dak Prescott has elite characteristics, but what has he done that's been elite? Right? Sure, MVP runner-up last year, right? Mm-hmm. But you had a decent run game last year. Quiet as kept. Tony Pollard rushed for 996 yards last year. He almost got to 1,000, right?
Pretty much 1,000-yard rusher.
You had a 1,000-yard rusher. You had two decent receivers, right? And you had a good tight end, and your offensive line stayed healthy the whole season. That's why the Cowboys were 12-5, right? Mm-hmm. This year, you subtracted from that, right? You subtracted from that, but the proof is in the pudding. When you don't add and you subtract, you get worse. And I get tired of people saying, oh, the $60 million quarterback. What the hell is he gonna pull you out of? He can't pull you out of nothing.
Yeah,
the only thing he can do, he can buy you something now. That's about it. It's still Dak. It's still Dak Prescott. He's still the same guy. Nothing's changed. He's not going to deliver that. The thing about, so a lot of people say, well, Patrick Mahomes got paid and they keep winning Super Bowls. You damn right. Anytime something happens with that team, the organization will replace it right away. Right away.
They always making a move to try to retool to make the offense better. They always doing it.
Always. Intermediate to deep routes. That's what Patrick Mahomes does well, right? What do? You go throw 4-3 fly boys so he can throw the ball to him. That's what they do. Blow the roof off this bitch. That's what they do.
Season, cool. Okay. D-Hop, you available?
We'll just go get D-Hop. You see what I'm saying? Pacheco gets hurt. We'll go get Kareem Hunt. They're always getting better all the time. They are just getting better, constantly getting better. The Cowboys don't do that. They don't. They don't do that. You understand what I'm saying? You knew damn well that Tony Pollard was your bell cow for the last 3 years. Even when Zeke, after the year, I think it was 2 years after Zeke got paid, Tony Pollard was still the running back. He was the better running back. So you pound Zeke, bring Tony Pollard in. He run like lightning all over the place. And then you bring Zeke in to end the game. And it worked for them, right? You got rid of that. You just kept Tony Pollard. You didn't bring another power back in. And you bought Tony Pollard in by himself off a broken leg. He like, y'all not setting me up for this shit. So he left. So you're like, I don't blame him either. Oh, so we'll just bring Zeke back. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. You got rid of Zeke for a reason.
Yeah. You knew he was a shell of himself. They knew he was a shell of himself. They knew that.
And Derrick Henry publicly told you, I want to be a Dallas Cowboy. I want to be a Dallas Cowboy. I'll take the hometown discount. I bought a house in Frisco. My wife is from Frisco. I just want to be a Dallas Cowboy. And then you don't even call him.
That is insane to me. Oh, my gosh. That is insanity.
Jerry has to step back and let football people do football things. Jerry is an excellent businessman. I say it all the time. He took a $176 million investment and turned to a $12 billion corporation. He did that. Congratulations. Just sit back, step away, hire a real GM, and just bask in success, man. Collect the money.
Collect that money for the team that you've made popular. Like I can give him credit for that. I can give Jerry Jones credit for that. From an outsider looking in, it's the same thing. So I know I'm not seeing anything false because you follow the Cowboys, everything. And anytime I have questions, I'll come and ask you. But Jerry has to allow this team to be football oriented. The Cowboys are famous enough. They're famous. They're a famous team. They don't need
you wear a Cowboy t-shirt anywhere in the world, and people know what that is.
They're gonna see you're gonna run past a fan that's gonna say something about it. You're gonna run past a hater that's gonna talk junk about it. They have the popularity in every state. It's just what it is.
Bro, the last deployment I was on, man, I was walking around in a cowboy hoodie because we was in Japan. And this Japanese dude came out of a bar and yelled, "How about them Cowboys?" You know what I'm saying? They came over and gave me. This is everywhere. It's worldwide. You see what I'm saying? But could you imagine what would happen to the entire world if the Cowboys won another Super Bowl?
That's what I'm saying. It got to be football oriented. It has to be.
It has to be. Bro, you gonna make so much money. You draft this kid from Frisco, Texas, from Frisco Lone Star High School. And I'm talking about Genty, the running back from Boise State. You draft this kid, bro, your jersey sales gonna go through the damn roof.
Yeah. And you got a running back now.
Everybody in Dallas had that damn jersey. So you made your money and you got the best running back in the draft who looks like he could possibly be a generational talent.
Might be.
This kid
might be.
There's ways to fix this, but the number one thing that has to happen is Jerry has to get out the damn way.
Well, you talking, Corey. You talking.
It is what it is, man. So until then, man, we kind of gonna be stuck in this rut because even Mike McCarthy probably won't be here next year. And if Jerry's still the one pushing the buttons and calling the shots, he's gonna bring somebody in here that he can control, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's gonna choose the coaching staff for him. And you're gonna take the field with a bunch of players that you probably don't even want on your roster. And it's gonna be the same old.
Jeez.
So, that's the life of a Dallas Cowboy fan, my brother.
Well, I hope for your sake that and just to piggyback off everything that you just said, that was it seemed like a plan. A lot of the times, from the outside looking in, it looks like for the first time the Falcons had an off-season plan this time. People agreed, some people agreed, some people disagreed. At least they had a plan. At least they had
a plan A and a plan B. It started with the quarterback. Just in case Kurt's Achilles ain't right. Hell, we'll get this dude from Washington who can throw the damn ball.
He can throw the rock.
And then he surprised everybody and ran a 4.5.
Which is, I didn't know he had that in him still.
Me neither. I didn't think he did.
I didn't think he did.
So you have a quarterback for now and you have a quarterback for the future. What do we have? We got Dak Prescott, who's getting older, and I got a philosophy about him I'm gonna put out next week too. I think I know what's wrong with Dak. And number one, and I say a little bit of it right now, Dak in love. He's in love. He got a new lady. He got a baby. You understand what I'm saying? He lost his mom. He lost his brother. Dak is in love.
Yeah.
Football just maybe it ain't that important no more.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? But the thing about it is, though, is he's a competitor. He's going to play, right?
Of course.
Because he's standing back there and he taking all these hits this year. You understand what I'm saying? But
not complaining too much either.
He ain't doing too much complaining. He taking the whole blame for everything. Like, shit, it's on me, right?
Yep.
But you put him in a situation this year, right, to where he can't succeed. And I think like he may feel like, yeah, I got paid, right? Mm-hmm. But you put me in this jacked up ass situation that you got me in right now. Shit, I can just go to the crib.
Mm-hmm. Do what I got to do. Go to work. Go home.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to work and I'm gonna go home. You're not really giving me nothing to play for. I don't have no running back. You gave me one wide receiver, right? My tight end is always in the same spot as my wide receiver. And oh yeah, you're not gonna block for me either.
Yeah.
I just go to the house and get my lady rub my feet. You know what I'm saying? My ankle hurt anyway.
Yeah.
Just saying. Who I mean, it's just like you have to think about it like that though. Like if you had a job, right? And you expected to put out so much product or whatever a day, right? And you like, okay, we're gonna give you a raise and we're gonna make you a manager, but we're gonna hire, somebody that I really don't want in a supervisor position, right? Mm-hmm. And you're not gonna give me everybody you got on my assembly line, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna give me a bunch of lazy people, right?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do? Oh, hey, I can't fire nobody. Because your general manager says, well, your boss says you can't fire nobody. You just got to deal with what I gave you,
right? These are the
people. I still want my numbers, and I'm gonna be frustrated at first, but eventually I'm gonna be thinking like, shit, I can't win.
I can't win, so I don't care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't care. I just go to the crib. I know my girl love me. Hell, I go home. I'm gonna kiss on this baby, and she gonna roll around on the bed and shit, and I'm gonna feel better about everything anyway.
Yep.
I promise you that's what's going through Dak Prescott's mind.
On. That might be. You might be right. You might be right.
I promise you. So, anyway. Well, Zoe, I appreciate this. So tomorrow, after the game, we can do it.
We got to do it one more time. We got to. Just to recap the stuff that we've seen. We got to, bro. It's mandatory.
It is mandatory, man. Zoe, I appreciate you so much, my brother. Thank you.
I appreciate you having me on Cowboy Spit. If y'all haven't liked, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell on my man C3 stuff. Y'all slipping. He got the Cowboys content. Of course, me and him both on Friday nights. We kick it at Man Down Sports. We do the full panel Friday. We talk about the Cowboys and everything else that got to do with sports. So, man, y'all definitely check us out, man. And also check my podcast out, Bird's Eye View. I cover all things Atlanta when it comes to sports. Yeah, man, we got a nice little squad over here, just in case you didn't know.
It's a trip, man. Like, listen, you got to check out. If everybody on here, if you haven't checked out One Full Panel Friday, man, you're missing something hilarious.
You're crazy if you haven't.
You have to
just go to Man Down Sports and just click on the live that we did yesterday. Very entertaining. Very entertaining, man.
It don't take it long to go off the chain either.
Yeah.
It don't. I do shit. 30, 45 seconds into it is off the rails. All right, so tomorrow at noon, man, we got a lot going on. Cowboys, Falcons.
So we'll see y'all tomorrow. Y'all come check us out tomorrow again after the on the post game.
For sure. We'll be here. All right, everybody. Y'all have a good night. Peace.